Hi everyone, I'm very excited to be here with Ashley, who's kindly agreed to share her experience with mental health and schizophrenia. So my first question is just, would you be willing to introduce yourself and maybe share about how you became an advocate regarding schizophrenia?
Yes, my name is Ashley Smith again. I am a mother. I'm an advocate. I'm also an author and blogger. I learned about my diagnosis through a rough situation that actually landed me in jail. And so it was quite a chaotic experience for me and my family. However, that was actually a blessing in disguise because I learned about my diagnosis. I got involved in recovery and I became an advocate down the road. What had happened was I had taken a truck from the airport and went on a high speed chase with the police. Once I was jailed, my symptoms had gotten progressively worse. And then I was transferred to a state hospital. There, I learned about my diagnosis. I learned how to manage my diagnosis through taking care of my stress and medication. And then afterwards, I got involved in NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And ever since then, I've been participating in NAMI and other groups such as Cures Foundation, where I share my story and I also support others in their recovery from schizophrenia.
Yeah, thank you so much for that introduction. I can imagine that's probably a very traumatic way to receive a diagnosis, but it's wonderful all of the work that you've done to support others since then. The next question on the list is a little bit of a jump in topic, but what has been your experience kind of navigating disclosure of schizophrenia to others? So, have there been sort of some positive or supportive reactions you've had? Have there been any misconceptions or barriers that you've experienced, or yeah, just anything you'd like to share on that topic?
In romantic relationships, I've learned that it becomes a question and answer discussion because usually the first couple of questions is either are you dangerous or violent or somewhere along those lines. And that surprises me because I don't look at myself as a violent or angry or dangerous person. In fact, I'm not. That's just a stereotype and a significantly poor misinformation and myth. Other times when I share my diagnosis, it's usually in a controlled, intimate setting where I'm sharing it through NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and I'm doing presentations, and people have the opportunity to ask questions. And generally, after those presentations, they devolve more of their information, and then we're able to build a relationship. And that's when my experience. So overall, it's been a healthy, positive experience. But what's even more better than that is that I've reduced my self stigma. I look at myself differently. I look at myself in a light like everybody else with goals, aspirations, responsibilities. And I see that I have a future and I see that I can help myself and help others in recovery.
Yeah, thank you so much for that answer, and it's wonderful to hear that you've been able to reduce self-stigma as well. I think that's so important. And then the next question is kind of about your experiences with the mental health care system. So, what have your experiences with the system been like? Kind of what's been positive or challenging there, and what changes would you like to see in the mental health system to better support patients with schizophrenia?
In the beginning, I was involved in county mental health centers, and it was very systematic. And what I mean by that is, whenever I saw my doctor, they would ask me the same exact questions as if I was a number or the same patient that they saw last week or last hour. And that was kind of a nuisance to me. However, I found my doctor, my current doctor, who I've been with over 10, 12 years, and I have a great experience. He's doing his private practice now. I've been with the same therapist over 5 years, and appreciate my treatment team because my medical team is very much involved with each other in sharing my stressors. I mean, I've had a few setbacks. The last couple of setbacks was in 2018 and 2023. And my therapist and my doctor worked closely with the hospital that I was sent to. And so that was a better experience than before when I was first diagnosed in 2007 at age 20.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that you've been able to find a doctor that works so well with you, and that's compatible. I guess like another part of people's support system can be family members. So is there any advice that you would give to maybe family members or I guess professionals in general who want to support loved ones and or patients with schizophrenia, and maybe especially regarding medication, because I know that there can often be a lot of fear around taking medication, which can be very real and hard for people to get past.
Yes. Yes, my family has played an intricate role in my recovery from the get-go. We have worked as a team to get me healthy again. Because of that situation with the jail, we were in prayer, we were advocating, learning more, studying more about this diagnosis, talking to my medical team, and working together as a unit. Especially my mom, because she relocated to be near me in the hospital every single day. And even though I was going through harsh symptoms and didn't appreciate her visit in the beginning because of my confusion, because of uh, what I was going through, she taught me a lot about the importance of recovery because she said one day I'll make it through and share with other people about how I made it. And that's what I'm doing today. And so the family plays an intricate role in the crisis and also in the recovery because they generally see the signs early on before the chaos hits. And then in the recovery, they're here to help us along the way from the very beginning to the present. And so my family has helped in tremendous ways. They've helped me personally recuperate. They've helped take care of my son. My son is now 13 years old. When I was last hospitalized, they they tell me when I look like I'm off balance or when I seem to be out of not doing well. And so my family plays a significant role in my recovery, as well as my loved ones and my friends. Um, my partner has been phenomenal and supported me through my depression the last couple of years. Right now, I'm in a really good space. I'm not experiencing much depression at all. And I'm really grateful to my treatment team for adjusting my medications and for having a strong partner to understand and check on me regularly, like every single day, more than twice a day. Hey, how was today? And things like that. And I would tell him, I don't feel like talking today. And it was okay. Um, as far as caregiving, my caregiver is my stepfather. We're in a different state, but he's still able to help me along my way, along my journey. Um, whenever we talk, sometimes we do video calls, or even my text messages may give him a hint that I'm not doing well. And so he'll ask me certain questions, or he'll suggest, hey, maybe you may want to go to the respite center. And what the respite center here in Georgia is, it's a community house where people have a diagnosis and we can go and regroup for up to 7 days. And we can take our medication, go to support groups, and and just take a moment to really take care of ourselves. And so my stepfather may recommend that occasionally, hey, why don't you take a break from, from everything and go to the respite center? And that's our key term or phrase when I feel like, okay, I need to check myself or I need to strengthen my self care routine and things like that. And medication, I've been on a few medications. I'm very fortunate to find one that actually works for me. And so, for individuals who are struggling through the trial and error phase, especially the newbies who have just been diagnosed, I encourage you to give it a try. It may not work the first time, it may not work the second time, but just try it for yourself until you find something that works well for you. Because this journey can be rough, but there can also be some good days. And the medication helps a lot with that. It helps a lot with me enabling me to think clearly, to stay focused, and to do what I want and need to do.
Yeah, thank you so much for that answer and for highlighting like how key a good medication can be. And um, I'm also just so happy to hear that you've reached such a good place now. And I think that's probably encouraging for a lot of other people as well.
I think that
Yeah.
I think the contributing factors that helps me get to this place where I am today is all that time. I've been diagnosed since I was 20. Today I'm 38. And so I've been in recovery for a few years. And I've had the opportunity to socialize with other peers in recovery, go to NAMI meetings and trainings to learn more about my diagnosis and how to articulate my story, such as through programs like Inner on Voice, as well as get involved in programs or classes like RAP, the Wellness Recovery Action Plan by Mary Ellen Copeland. And that's about self awareness because it teaches us about how we are on a good day, how are we on a bad day. If we're in crisis, what hospital do we want to go to? What medication will or won't work for us? And so a lot of my recovery journey and how it looks today, I've been through some highs, I've been through some lows, but at the end of the day, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of energy. This is a part-time job taking care of myself, taking care of my self-care routine, my self-care rituals. And that looks like a lot of things. Sometimes it's walking, other times it's journaling, sometimes meditation, listening to nature sounds, and definitely my medication and therapy. I'm a strong advocate for therapy. I think that counseling helps in tremendous ways because it's a problem solver. It's not just about discussing problems, it's about how can we overcome daily stressors and challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, the next question is, you mentioned earlier being a parent, and so one question I've been especially eager to ask is, what has your experience been with parenting? I'm a neurodivergent parent myself, so I also have some personal interest in the topic, but are there, yeah, what has your experience been like in general, and are there resources or support services that you wish were available in kind of an ideal world?
I love being a parent. However, it's a lot of work, not just because I'm a single parent and then in recovery, but it's just a lot of work in general. um, I think that the biggest challenge has been staying focused, finding that balance between recovery and managing emotions and emotional needs and stuff like that, especially if I'm hospitalized. I really appreciate my family for allowing me to, dictate his instruction in classes and well-being, even though I was in the hospital, talking to me regularly, making sure we talked about those good days in class, because I'm actually referring back to when he was very young, like 6 years old, when I went to the hospital in 2018. Um, that was a really rough time. I didn't get to have him come home and tell me about him getting a purple, which is excellent behavior. And I just remember being on the phone in the hospital and him telling me these things and me like wishing I was there, or when he graduated from the fifth grade. It was really tough in 2023. But at the end of the day, after I got well, after I was able to regroup and have that family support there along the way, it pays off. It pays off to take care of my son, to take my medication, to take care of myself, to have that family support. I mean, it's a journey in itself being a parent, but it's a beautiful journey. And I'm so thankful that I can have children and stay on medication when I did have him. And so I'm very grateful.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And yeah, it's cool to hear about his, sorry, I don't know exactly what you call it, but the Purple Award for
Yeah,
the
they
good
have
days
a,
in
a
school.
color scale
Yeah.
for good behavior. Green was like a good day, and then blue was a great day. Purple was excellent. I even remember the scale. And he would come home and he was so excited on the phone about getting a purple. And I shared that experience with him, but I just wish I was home to be there in person.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and then the last question I have on this list is, I know that schizophrenia can often come with a lot of challenges, and there's like rightfully a lot of discussion on that, but maybe some of the joy or positives of experiences of people living with schizophrenia aren't represented as much. So I'm just curious, what are some things that bring you joy or meaning in life?
I think to talk about the joy, we also have to look at the bad days, because some
Yeah.
people don't
Mm.
understand what the bad days really are, what crisis looks like. And so, schizophrenia is a range of all different types of mental illnesses put together. I have schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and depression. It's otherwise known as schizoaffective disorder. And so, my chaos or my crisis could look like confusion, paranoia, um, hallucinations, seeing spirits, hearing voices, um, being suspicious of family and friends, being having mood swings. The list goes on and on. But so when I have good days, like now, I'm having good weeks, I'm having good months. It is really a prize. It is really precious to me to experience these good moments, because I don't have to jump through hoops to have a great day. I'm still managing my self care, but I don't have to do A through Z just to have a good day. And what that means is A through Z is my my self-care rituals, my self-care routine, the walking, the talking and checking in with family and friends. And the peer support is so important. It's helped me in so many different ways. And so these good days are are waking up and not being as strict about my self-care routine, I can kind of relax a little bit and do those things and make it fit in my day. Another part of my self care is keeping a realistic journal. And what that means to me is that I'm writing down accomplished tasks throughout the day. And so instead of having a things to do list and not checking off that things to do list or being overwhelmed, I'm able to look back at my realistic journal and be proud of myself and say, hey, it may sound strange, but at one point it was hard for me to take care of hygiene regularly. And that was another symptom of my condition. So, hey, I took care of my hygiene. I took my medication. I went for my walk. I rested. I talked to my clients, things like that. And so it seems minute to a lot of people, but it's really big to me because I can applaud myself inside and know that I did something for the day, know that I did something for the week, and know that I'm taking care of myself.
Yeah, no, that doesn't sound strange at all. That sounds like a huge positive change. And yeah, thank you for that answer. My last question is just, is there anything that you'd like to share about schizophrenia or about your books, which I'd love to hear more about, that I haven't asked about yet?
Yes, yes. I keep a blog called Overcoming Schizophrenia. I started blogging in 2008, and so it's been challenging to keep it up, but right now I'm focused on writing weekly, which I've done well this year, 2025. And schizophrenia, it's been, a roller coaster, but then there's a lot of great days, and I'm able to record those moments. I'm able to talk about how I turned a bad day into a good day on my blog. I'm able to talk about the next book that I'm coming out with. And this last book, I've written books since 2014. Mostly they're blog books. They're blog entries from overcoming schizophrenia, but other books that I've done are inspirational reads, like a journal or Crushing the Spirit of Depression that has 30 prayers and affirmations. However, this last book is very different. It's called In Her Own Ink. And the unique thing about this book is that it not only teaches people about the tricks and tips and proven strategies on how to write a book, but I include interviews from five other authors on how they managed to get their through writer's block, how they managed to edit their work. And I think that it's very supportive, it's very reader friendly, and it's very effective in helping people develop a strategy, whether you're new or not new to the writing world, whether this is your first book, your second book, or third book, it's going to be helpful for everybody. And again, the name of the book is called In Her Own Ink. But I do want to emphasize that I have a few blog books. My last blog book is called What's on My Mind, Controlling the Weight of Depression. And as I mentioned before, having schizoaffective disorder is a lot of different diagnoses together, but depression really weighed me down. And that's why it was so nice to talk about how I turn good days into bad days on my blog. But to wrap it up, if anyone is interested in my books, you can check me out on Amazon. It's amazon.com/author/Smith Ashley. Again, my author page is amazon.com/author/Smith Ashley. And my blog, Overcoming Schizophrenia. I hope that you would check it out.
Yeah, and I'll put the links for them in the video description as well. Have you found writing to also be kind of therapeutic as well in
Almost
nature?
definitely.
Yeah.
Writing is very therapeutic. I've been journaling since I was very young, and so it comes almost naturally to me to articulate my days, articulate the questions I have, and to expand on that.
Wonderful. Well, yeah, thank you so much again for the chance to interview you and for sharing your experience and some of your works with me. So thank you.
Thank you, Sam, for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to share my experiences and my story with you and your viewers. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.